But like a big thing that I've kind of like felt recently is that like I've kind of like thought, what is the direction that gaming is going to go, right? Because I've recently procured myself a PlayStation 5. I know.
Oh, really?
I know, guys. I know.
Oh, you're the lucky few.
Yeah, the lucky few.
Oh.
And the reason I did that was entirely because I was like, I don't need a PS5 yet. I don't need a PS5. And then Horizon Forbidden West came out, and Horizon Zero Dawn is like one of my favorite games of all time. So I'm like, all right, this kind of deserved the special treatment. I'll try and go out my way to get a PS5 in order to play this game.
Yeah.
And the game looks fucking amazing. It looks fucking fantastic, right?
Yeah.
But is it that different from playing it on a PS4? I wouldn't really say so. You know,
I feel like hyper realism in video games has almost reached a limit to the point where it's like, we can't get any better graphics.
Games don't look that much different. Like 8 years ago.
Yeah,
they don't. It's
like we can't get any better than this.
Like I remember jumping from like I remember the first time I got my N64 and I played Super Mario 64 and like my mind fucking blew. It was like I was like running around in 3D after 2D Mario all this time. Like I could not comprehend how such an experience could be done.
Like 12-year-old me was like, up is forward. Right? What? How does that work?
and now I'm just like, I think there are extra pixels that my eye is seeing right now.
Right.
I feel
unless you
like,
have like a 12K like TV, like you're not going to see the difference, right? Yeah.
I feel like it's a bit smoother because there are slightly more frames, but it certainly isn't like the mind blown kind of experience that I felt before.
But that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I feel like we've almost reached that limit when it comes to like amazing graphically how games can be, and that's why I feel like especially the indie scene for the past like 10 years has been more focused on making these more like stylized games, like pixel games and stuff like that. Like, you know what I want back? I want cell shading in games back. Can we have that back?
Has it ever left?
I think it's like it used to be in the forefront. I feel of like all the mainline games or like the mainstream games. In a way, it was.
I don't think so.
I think for like certain demographics, like you know, like when like Wind Waker came out, for example, everyone fucking hated it at first until they played and they realized how amazing it was.
Yeah,
right?
I remember when Wind Waker came out, and there was so much discussions in like magazines to be like, this is a step down. From, like this is a graphical step down.
That's what the trend was, right? It was realism.
realism.
Yeah.
And then when we started getting used to the cell shaded shit, like with Lollipop Chainsaw is like another game series that's like very cell shaded, very stylized, right?
Yeah.
People were also like, oh man, this game looks too fucking weird. Like it's not pretty enough. And then people immediately when they played the game, they found out, oh, you know what? This is pretty, but just on a different caliber of pretty.
Yeah, I mean, like I would say like Wind Waker has aged the best visually in terms of like I would argue like pretty much every Zelda game.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think it looks better than Pokemon Arceus.
The best thing is, exactly. And the best thing is those kinds of styles, a lot of the times, are ageless.
Yeah.
Look at Cuphead.
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly.
Cuphead's
or like, you know, like Wind
beautiful.
Waker looks just as good even in today's standards because it's so stylized. Whereas if you go back to like, you know, Ocarina of Time, right? You're like, oh, not as pretty as my 12-year-old mind back then thought it was.
A fugly game.
Yeah,
it's not a pretty.
So if you have the context, you know, the setting and stuff, it makes sense.
Of course, you know, people who say like, you know, with all those N64 games who are like, no, it looks just as good today. Or obviously they're just operating off nostalgia.
Yeah.
Right. But like anyone can look at Mario 64 and go, fuck me, that's an ugly game.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It
I
just.
actually think Mario 64 looks kind of good.
You think compared to like Ocarina?
Well. Yeah, like if you look at something like GoldenEye looks awful.
Oh, that looks awful.
GoldenEye looks jank.
And you know, and Ocarina of Time I think looks awful. I don't know, Mario 64, like I don't know why. I think it looks okay. I don't think it aged as bad as you might think.
I think you should probably take like a closer look at it.
I have.
Because I was
Bowser
playing,
looks like shit. Okay, I'll give you that. Bowser looks like shit.
Dude, Peach in the opening scene, I'm just like, what is that?
That is true, actually. Because when I think of Mario 64, for some reason I go to Mario Sunshine. Yeah. Because that was like, I guess my childhood Mario that I remember, and Mario Sunshine has aged a lot better visually than Mario 64.
A million times better. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like that generation of games, like
PS1.
I wouldn't say PS1 because like I look back at like Metal Gear Solid 1, and I look back at like pixels talking to each other. Like Snake's face doesn't have detail.
It's like
just
one triangle.
It's just a triangle. And I remember thinking, how the fuck did I get invested in these cutscenes of just Snake going, Otacon? And it's just like a pixel going, you know. But like, I feel like the PS2 GameCube era was kind of when we started really getting to the point where I couldn't see that much of a big jump in graphical fidelity.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I did see a difference with PS3. PS3 to me is when it kind of like peaked, you know, where, you know, Last of Us originally came out on the PS3, right?
Yes.
And I was just like, to me, like the original Last of Us, like pretty much every game looks about the same as Last of Us. You know, even though I could tell they look graphically better, they're not that much graphically better that I think, my God, this is a fucking mind-blowing amount of improvement.
Yeah.
You know?
The Wii looks pretty bad though.
The Wii,
Yeah.
well, that's because the Wii had like very limited hardware.
Isn't the Wii
as well.
isn't it in 480p? The Wii?
Yeah, I think so.
It has a native resolution of 480p.
Yeah, and it's just
it looks-
upscale.
It looks rough when you go back and play it. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, because I remember as a kid when Super Smash Brothers Brawl came out.
Yeah.
I remember I thought, dude, this is like the pinnacle.
I thought that with Twilight
I'm like,
Princess.
this is insane.
Yeah.
And then I looked back like a year ago, and I was like, what the fuck? It looked like that the entire time. I think because I'm remembering the rendered cutscenes for that game.
Yeah.
And the cutscenes look amazing.
Yeah.
Because of course they fucking.
Yeah. But I think in the case with that generation of consoles like the Wii, I think it depends on the game as well. Because like Twilight Princess still looks great, even though that's a Wii game.
Does it?
I think it still looks great.
I haven't looked. But
Compared to Brawl,
I think every single footage I've seen of Twilight Princess of late has been the HD remaster.
the HD remaster. But if you look at it comparatively, like a lot of these like HD remasters, I don't really see the point of calling them HD remasters because if you put them side by side, they're really, unless you're like a fucking, you know, pixel snob, like you're not going to see it. Like, you know, when Final Fantasy X remaster came out, right? Like the HD remaster.
Yeah.
I played it and I was like, how does this look any different to the PS2 version?
Oh, so did you see the GTA 3 remaster?
No.
Oh, it was a disaster.
Really?
It was like the game looked worse. Did you not see this?
No, I didn't see
It's
this.
like a massive controversy.
No, I didn't see this at all.
They like took off the original Grand Theft Auto and you couldn't buy it.
Right.
The original third one.
Yeah.
And they were like, you have to buy the remake. They reversed it a little bit. I can't remember exactly what they did.
Yeah.
But they released this remake and it looked worse than the original. It was like they just turned like the smoothness option on. Like everything had just been smooth.
Right.
So the people just looked even weirder in the cutscenes.
Ugh.
And like all of it looked. Have you not seen the?
No.
Okay, let me quickly grab a few images and show you. I'm going to just type in Grand Theft Auto GTA 3 remaster images comparison. Okay. Yeah. So like, look at this. This is the original, and this is the remastered.
Oh,
that's
Oh.
gross.
that's
Yeah.
just uncanny. You know?
There's also
Yeah.
like there's so many where like it doesn't look like that much better.
Yeah.
It's like nearly
I'd
identical.
say the original has more character to it.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, a lot of the cutscenes, the characters just look worse.
Yeah.
It was really weird. I just don't understand.
But that's the thing with like, again, that's the thing with like HD remasters, right? Like when they did HD remaster of Wind Waker, I was like, this legitimately looks no different. It still looks just as
think
good.
it does look a bit crisper.
You
but
think
that's
so?
It, though. I think
It's very minute though.
me Google.
I would say, right? Like you know, compared to like Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? Like you know,
Yeah,
like-
exactly,
Like you know,
right?
that's
Yeah,
a big
that's
jump,
a
right?
big
Like,
jump.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
like
big jump.
It's the difference between a remake and a remaster. though.
right,
True,
right.
that's true.
Well, yeah, they just kind of like upped the contrast and smoothed it all out and made it probably just higher, resolution.
Yeah, higher resolution. But like it's
Like, it
so
does look-
stylized.
it
It's
does
so
look a little better.
stylized though
Yeah.
that like in terms of like actual graphical updates or
Yeah.
upgrades, it's like it's not something to write home about.
Yeah, if you look at the images, it just looks like the edges are smoother.
Yeah.
Like RTX has been turned on.
But
Yeah.
you're not going to see that big of a difference when you're playing the game.
It wouldn't
right?
make a difference
No.
to your
No.
experience playing the game.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's talking about like the graphical differences as well. But in terms of like gameplay differences, I feel like the gaming industry as a whole has just like optimized pretty much like 90% of everything that can be optimized. And you know, every so often we get something like Breath of the Wild that completely changes the way you look at like an open world, for example.
Yeah.
And now every open world game has a glider for some reason,
Yep.
even if it doesn't need it. Like,
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I feel like the technology is less so focused on making the things very high graphics or making the textures more advanced. It's like, I think right now a lot of the technology, from what I understand, is focused on like the lighting and stuff, right? So making it so when you put a character in a world that you can add all of the effects naturally. So instead of having a beam of light and you programming like the light is here, it's like you program the room and then you have a bunch of options to like turn on the, I forgot what the name of the lighting thing is. It's like lighting where it uses like the calculations to like figure out what would happen if like a ball went in the way, and the reflection stuff. I think that's where a lot of the advancements are being made, not so much in like the individual like assets makeup, because the models that we have of characters in games are very, very high quality.
Oh,
they
yeah.
are.
And
they have been for a while.
Yeah, the only thing that's left is making how the models interact with the world more realistic, if they want that, or you know, whatever they want to do. And so now it's about making the machines that can do these animations or do these things built in and do them smoother. From what I understand, I could be totally wrong. Someone might correct me.
But that's what I want to know, right? It's like, once we've perfected that hypothetically, what's the next step?
Well, that's why I do look to VR, because I do remember the first time I tried Beat Saber and the first time I tried Super Hot, I did get that same kind of feeling that I got playing Super Mario 64 for the first time, which is just like your brain has never experienced something like this before, and it's just fucking pure cocaine. It was like the first time I played Super Hot VR was like, is like one of the funnest gaming experiences I've ever had.
Yeah.
Like period.
Absolutely.
But like that was an hour or so, or however long it took me to play Super Hot.
There's no big games in VR, right?
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
all
yeah.
really good, like 1 to 3 hour.
Where's the next Mario? Where's the Mario VR game, dude? I want a Mario VR game where I am Mario.
The problem is that movement is limited. Right?
Movement,
Like, if you let like in
Mario Kart VR. Where's Mario Kart VR?
yeah, it could be. I think there are racing games in VR.
Well, they did it in Mario Land, so why can't they do it in an Oculus?
That was not very good though.
That wasn't very good, but you know what I mean, right? Like if we get like a Mario Kart VR,
I think right now the
Big
problem is
bucks.
like movement is really hard.
Yeah.
And when movement is realistic, it's not good. Because that's not what you want.
Right.
But also, if you add unrealistic movement to your character, it becomes really hard to make it feel real. Like that game I mentioned where you jump around.
Yeah.
You don't jump around. You just point the stick and press jump, because you can't do that movement. There's no. Like, I can't jump in my fucking room like a ninja, right? I wish I could. You know how bad it'd be to be jumping off the
I
wall.
want to be on the sidelines watching that.
I wish I could.
I will never get bored of like the random every like random clips like that sometimes get recommended on my YouTube of like grandmas trying VR for the first time, and like them doing like the balance beam game
my
or something, and just like
God.
jumping head first into
Dude,
a
people
wall.
jumping and shit. Oh my God.
Like the guy jumping into his TV, right? That was my favorite.
I will never get bored of it. Or like the grandma who like, or I think it was the grandma or grandpa who did like the climbing one, and they like slowly fell. And like they fell onto like a table or something.
Did you see those? I know there's some places you can do it, and it's like an activity. They have the VR headsets that the cables go up to the roof,
Yeah.
and it's like a treadmill you're standing on.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like an omnidirectional.
Oh, yeah,
omnidirectional one.
yeah.
And you can like have a gun, and then you can like run around.
There's,
Yeah.
I know there's one place in Shinjuku I think you can do that.
Really?
Yeah.
With the treadmills?
I think
Yeah,
so.
Why haven't
I've
we
seen
done
that
that.
as
What
well.
the fuck?
Yeah.
I know there's a few in America.
Yeah.
It looks really cool. It looks really
It
like.
looks really
Yeah,
dope.
I'd like
yeah.
to try that out.
Yeah.
Like imagine it's one where it's like a trampoline that gives you like feedback based on like how much pressure you put on the trampoline or something, kind of thing.
Yeah, because like I've
It's
heard.
like you're on gravity and the trampoline gets stiffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if it's like less, you know, you're on like a swampland, like
Yeah.
swampy. That'd be
Yeah,
cool. I don't know how
'cause-
you do that though.
Because like I've heard like one technique that people use to combat motion sickness in VR games, right, is to literally
Is drinking vitamin C.
drink,
Wasabi on your eyes.
eating a fuck ton of oranges,
Sorry.
eating a fuck ton
Sorry.
of pouring
Sorry.
some salt,
Right, okay.
pouring some
Sorry.
salt in their wound.
Directly
I had
into
to-
your
I
eyes.
had to do it. I had to do it. I had to do it.
But also actually just like walking in the spot, you know, like just literally like just moving your legs to make it feel like you're walking, and it's just weird that just like that is enough
Rewires
to
your
trick
brain.
your brain into thinking, oh, okay, this is real walking now. I can understand this, right?
Oh,
I know.
I've never done that before. I should try
Yeah, I
that.
should try that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like it's VR right now is at the very new stages. I'm very interested to see how and like if gaming gets to a point where this kind of does become mainstream and we get some like actual AAA games with VR games. 'Cause yeah, right now it seems like a very overpriced piece of tech for a lot of tech demos.
Yeah.
It's a shame because I really like it. I really want it to evolve. But I don't think it's going to be where I think it would be really sick and mainstream for like another 10 years at least.
I'm just waiting, man. I want Sword Art Online.
Hey,
Sword Art Online.
hey,
in real life.
40-year-old me, I'm gonna be jamming in VR when it's out, man.
Oh, yeah.
I want to be that dad that is like doing his PC stuff all the time, playing games. I'm gonna be that dad for sure.
Yeah, of course. We're gonna be the generation when we're retired. We're like, oh, finally, I can get started on that back catalog of games, right?
Yeah. Aren't we getting close to the year that Sword Art Online was set now as well?
2025, I think.
Yeah,
Something like that.
I mean, it could be done just like
I don't know how I remember
just
that.
like just hook a wire up to your like PC or something that like electrocutes you if you die in the game.
It's like, ow!
like you actually just it like gives you like a
It's like a shock collar.
It gives you a lethal voltage if you die in the game. Like we could probably do it now. We just don't because we're scared of what we could create.
I'm sure there's some.
We're scared of advancements in technology.
2022, so this year.
Oh, this year.
Actually, this
Sword
year.
Art Online is this year. Let's
Oh
go!
my god! I actually read. I think they're releasing like someone's releasing an MMO, the first VR MMO.
Oh my
It's
god,
gonna
it's
be
real!
shit.
It's real!
It's real.
We can barely make good MMOs now.
I hope I get selected as a beta.
You are a beta, Jay.